tapping in as well.
Over the top. I mean, that was a full force shot to the temple. I mean, he's right now. So they wipe off his gloves, but you look at him like he's really feeling it right now. I mean, he probably has no idea where he is.
When I'm going to take your soul, and you're either going to give up or you're going to get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct, you just will never be a good fighter.
One big shot's going to land if the guy's not throwing other shots. So I thought with less artillery in the air, less bombs in the air, that the guy would have a chance to get to later rounds.
Joe Rogan reacted to Jake Paul's knockout loss with laughter alongside Anthony Joshua, calling the fight a clear mismatch from the very beginning. Rogan explained that Jake is typically used to facing retired fighters or MMA opponents, not a legitimate Olympic gold medalist heavyweight. He stressed that Joshua is not only elite, but also operates far above Jake's natural weight class. From a realistic boxing standpoint, Rogan said the outcome was obvious long before the opening bell, and the result merely confirmed what most experienced observers already expected.
Well, realistically, it's one of the craziest propositions of all time. You take a guy who just had a boxing match that looks like a sparring match with a 58-year-old Mike Tyson, and then you're going to fight one of the absolute scariest knockout artists in the head.
After the fight, Anthony Joshua delivered a strong and blunt post-fight statement, saying that the knockout actually saved Jake Paul. Joshua explained that if the bout had continued, he would have broken Jake down both mentally and physically over time. He suggested that the early stoppage prevented even greater damage from accumulating inside the ring.
Fighting's not just physical, it's psychological. And when you understand the psychological warfare, I did say to you that, Jake, what's going to happen? I'm going to see a time when I'm going to take your soul, and you're either going to give up or you're going to get knocked out. And unless you have that instinct...
Anthony Joshua being linked to what many call the circus fight against Jake Paul immediately divided opinion throughout the boxing world. For many observers, the matchup felt more like a spectacle than a legitimate sporting contest. With the size, experience, and pedigree gap impossible to ignore, Joshua is a two-time heavyweight champion and Olympic gold medalist. While Jake Paul is still learning the fundamentals of the sport, the pairing appeared designed more for attention and numbers than true competition, which is why critics labeled it a circus rather than a real fight. Simon Jordan reacted strongly after Joshua broke Jake Paul's jaw with a knockout, calling the entire event damaging to boxing's credibility.
Industry, because straight after the fight, I heard the question being posed to Joshua, will he now fight Fury? And then my first thought was, after what I've seen, who cares? After that, who cares if Joshua fights Fury? I like Anthony Joshua immensely, Spencer. Any exchanges I've had with him, I think he comes across terrifically well. But I fail to see where it's taken us, where it's taken him, other than hugely increasing his bank balance. You know, I really fail to see what this has done.
Well, it's done nothing, but he was going to fight in November, like I said, and he's just gone in there against Jake Paul. What has it done for his legacy? Absolutely zero. But it was, you know, he's earned a lot of money doing that. And he's going to go again, and he's going to fight possibly February, March, and then there's that Tyson Fury fight that's looming that could happen in September, whether Tyson Fury decides to come out of retirement or not come out of retirement. For Anthony Joshua, he's earned a hell of a lot of money. This is prize fighting, and that's what it's all about, and that's what he's done.
Argued that fights like this blur the line between sport and spectacle, and ultimately pull attention away from meaningful competition. He emphasized that Anthony Joshua has already secured generational wealth and a lasting legacy, meaning he has no need to chase novelty bouts, even if a long-awaited Tyson Fury fight never materializes. Jordan noted that Joshua's financial security makes the idea of him walking away from boxing entirely far from unrealistic.
Earning more than Joshua. That apart, Spencer, 6 rounds to get Paul out of there. Reputationally, how does it leave AJ?
Well, thankfully it didn't go to points, because I think that would have been a disaster for Anthony Joshua. I think that he needed to get the job done inside the distance, you know, and he done it. Look, he could have done it at any given point. I think that he could have cut the ring off whenever he wanted to and got Jake Paul out of there. He took his time on that. He allowed Jake Paul to run around like a rabbit and throw the occasional shot from time to time. And I think he only landed one clean punch, didn't he, Anthony Joshua? And that was the one that broke his jaw in 2 places.
But I mean, you said, did you not, to us in this very studio the other day, he's got to get him out of there in round 1.
I did.
Otherwise, what are we seeing?
Exactly that, you know, and I think what we saw there was a little bit of entertainment, and that was pretty much it. But not entertainment that many people enjoyed. If I'm honest, I think that people wanted to see a demolition.
Joe Rogan also took time to praise Anthony Joshua, highlighting his speed, athleticism, and devastating power. Rogan explained that Joshua moves like someone far lighter than a heavyweight, while carrying one-punch knockout ability that can change a fight instantly. He described Joshua as a nightmare matchup because of how quickly he closes distance and ends exchanges. According to Rogan, these physical traits make it completely unrealistic for crossover fighters to compete with him. At a serious professional level,
This is a giant Olympic gold medalist heavyweight. I mean, Anthony Joshua is fucking
He is the
terrifying.
thing that nightmares are made of.
And he's got that one-punch nuclear power. One punch.
Booth offered a brutally honest breakdown, noting that Jake Paul did manage to make Anthony Joshua miss at certain moments, which he considered significant. Booth said Jake's movement and positioning showed improvement and discipline, forcing Joshua to reset rather than land freely. While Booth made it clear this did not mean Jake was winning, he acknowledged that creating hesitation against an elite heavyweight is meaningful and shows progress in Jake's development. Continuing his analysis, Booth explained that making a fighter like Joshua miss is not accidental and requires preparation, timing, and confidence. He credited Jake's footwork and composure under pressure, but stressed that these moments did not alter the overall reality of the fight. Joshua's class, power, and experience ultimately dictated the outcome once he found his open.
Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul shared a ring. Your takeaways from the 6 rounds that we saw, presuming you watched?
I was impressed with Jake Paul. I thought that, following on from what we're saying, right? A few years ago, he was on Disney as a kid, acting up, and has decided to become a professional fighter. That take Paul's, he's obviously striving to be as good as he can be. You can see that in the way that he moves, the way that he is developed in how he's punching and performing. But to make a 2-time world heavyweight champion that's still live, you know, AJ's still got something about him, to make him miss in such an accomplished manner. All right, so at times he was jumping out and running around, but there were times when he was well in range and still making AJ unable to land a clean, solid shot. He deserves a lot of respect for that. And then the shot that actually finished the fight, that broke his jaw quite badly, didn't put him out. That shot's that shot he threw with serious intention has put a lot of professional heavyweights to sleep. He didn't go to sleep. He actually finished on his knees, didn't he? Laughing and spitting blood out of his mouth. So, like they say, like, it's a special type of crazy and a special type of brave to do it. But I actually, hats off to him, because he showed that he's developing some accomplished little skills in there to look after himself. The size difference is always going to fatigue him.
I know everyone will come with the idea that, oh, well, AJ should just go in there 1 round and smash him to bits, and that should be it was a big ring, right? Perhaps he could have cut the ring off a bit better, but would I be right in saying that regardless of skill level, if you forget about that with the 2 for a second, if someone is on the back foot and on their bike and kind of doing what Jake was doing, it's difficult no matter who you are, no matter the kind of separation in skill level.
It's a big ring, and you've either got to run at him and look like a novice yourself, or just take your time and understand.
Aftermath. Attention shifted to Logan Paul, who appeared to intimidate Anthony Joshua and spoke openly about revenge for his brother. Logan reportedly expressed interest in fighting Joshua himself. However, analysts immediately dismissed the idea as even more mismatched than Jake's bout. They pointed out that Jake trains full-time with professional boxing coaches, while Logan lacks that level of commitment and skill. A Logan Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight would be even more one-sided. Further discussion reinforced that Logan pursuing Joshua would move from spectacle into outright farce. Analysts argued that even Jake, despite losing, showed he belongs in professional boxing at a basic level. Logan, by comparison, is viewed as far less polished and far less serious. The consensus was that such a fight would offer nothing competitive and would only deepen criticism surrounding boxing's direction.
Would be more of a mismatch than Jake Paul. You know what I mean? Because at least Jake Paul has taken boxing, or has trained with real boxing trainers in real boxes. Whereas Logan Paul, you know, he did that exhibition with Floyd, and Floyd's a little guy. Not saying a little guy can't thump, because Floyd really gave him some 2 pieces with no sides, right? But at the same time, You take his friend, Floyd's friend, Anthony Joshua, and get hit by him and see what happens. The same thing. Probably worse, because I think Logan, you know, he's a little taller than Jake. And because he's a little taller than Jake, he may think he's a little stronger than Jake. Which I don't know which one's true or not. I don't think it makes a difference. But because he may feel that way, he may want to go in there and try to bang it out with AJ. And if that happens, it's going to be a lot quicker. See, that 6 rounds it took AJ to finally catch Jake. It took that way because Jake was on that bicycle, moving, being elusive, trying to come in and then come out. He tried to do a very poor man's Alexander Usyk, right? And it didn't work for him. Logan ain't gonna do that. Logan's gonna come in throwing punches and bunches like he did with Floyd, trying to get him in there and, you know, do all this stuff. And what's gonna happen as soon as AJ lines him up, sets his punch, he's gonna hit Jake and he's gonna break Jake